What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So Game Informer's coverage on Uncharted The Lost Legacy is coming to an end, seeing as March is almost over now, and one of their final videos they just recently posted was an interview with Evan Wells, who is one of the co-presidents at Naughty Dog. Really quickly speaking about that, if you didn't catch the news already, Naughty Dog had co-presidents, right, two of them, but they actually recently announced that one of them is going to be leaving. Christopher Lestra will be leaving the company, I think, literally next week. So yeah, it's kind of sad to see. He's been there for a very long time. I think pretty much like almost the exact trajectory of Uncharted, maybe even a little bit before that in the Jack and Dexter times he was already at the company. But he's going to be leaving very soon for personal reasons, I think, and that's kind of sad to see because, yeah, from now on Naughty Dog will have only one president then it seems. But anyway, with this president, Evan Wells, yeah, they had an interview and he said some interesting stuff about the future of the company, talking about, you know, Uncharted, The Last of Us, and, you know, what else is coming up next pretty much for the company, right? So I just wanted to, you know, you can read the interview, or actually watch it in video form. I'll put a link in the description as usual, but do that and then you can come back here, I guess, for my thoughts. Anyway, I wanted to quickly discuss exactly what he said in the video. So he said a couple of interesting things that I want to highlight. So first of all, he said we have wrapped up Nathan Drake's story for sure. Don't think that's much of a surprise because they've said that all along. Uncharted 4 was the final Uncharted game with Nathan Drake. That's very good to see in my opinion because it's just nice that, you know, that a story like that can have its ending. Because in these times where you see so many games getting milked or companies, you know, just don't want to let go because they're so financially dependent on it, that they kind of, yeah, start milking it, and that it ruins it in a way, right? I mean, that's the whole thing I like so much about a series like Breaking Bad, is it had a definitive ending point, and that's exactly what Uncharted did right now as well, at least in terms of Nathan Drake's story. So we know this is the arc, it's been told perfectly from beginning to end. It feels there are no remaining questions anymore, really. You could think of a couple of things, I guess, but everything that they at least, you know, talked about in these games has been completely answered now. We know how everything went, the whole timeline. It's fine. It's had its definitive ending, and that's good to see. So Uncharted with Nathan Drake is done, but we kind of already knew that, of course. So what he said as well is we have a lot of ideas outside of the Uncharted universe, and we're busy on The Last of Us 2 at the same time, but we have no grand plan to continue Uncharted, because they asked him, well, does it really mean that, you know, this is the end for Uncharted? Of course, we have The Lost Legacy coming up, so clearly it's not completely the end yet, but will it end after The Lost Legacy? Well, what Evan Wells said is basically that, you know, they have a lot of ideas outside of Uncharted, so will they really continue it at some point in a different way? We'll have to wait and see. He, you know, stayed very vague about that. Also not really too surprising, I guess. And he said everyone is still really excited about Uncharted. There will be an empty spot for everybody at the studio if we never really come back. So that also indicates that, you know, it could be very possible that in 5 to 10 years, who knows, maybe Naughty Dog is the studio that will simply return to it and reboot the franchise with Cassie as the protagonist or somebody completely differently. Well, we'll just have to wait and see about that. And also the two-team pushes over. It's more like we now have one team and a quarter. And this is something that I've been pretty much speculating about already for quite a while, as I already could kind of see that, is that they focused with that complete team on Uncharted 4, and now also, you know, they will be doing that on The Last of Us Part 2. Basically, where at first they really had the ambition to split that team up and have two different teams working on different games at the same time, so they could push out more games, I guess, maybe on a yearly or 2-year basis, you know, if that's possible. Well, right now it looks like with the demands of games, you know, the fact that you just need so many people working on it to really deliver a masterpiece like Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us, it's just not, like, it's not possible for them in any way to continue that way with two teams. What they did is, what they decided to do is that they put them all into one team works on one game at the same time, and then they still have a couple of people left that will already go in pre-production on the next game. This is what I'm saying, is that I'm pretty sure that by the time Uncharted 4 started wrapping up in that final year, you know, the people who wrote the story and who did all the, maybe the, you know, the motion capture, I think was finished like 5 or 6 months in advance. The game designers, the people that design the levels, that create the concept art, like, they'll be done, right? So in that way, what they do is they make those people already move on and prepare for the next project, which would be The Lost Legacy or The Last of Us Part 2. And so the story was already written there quite a bit in advance, or at least a part of it, you know, enough at least so that other people at the studio who then actually finally start wrapping up the work on Uncharted 4, like the programmers, could immediately move on and knew what to do next. Because this is the whole thing with, you know, people that write the story, concept artists, game designers, game programmers. It goes on a step-by-step basis. You know, a programmer can't really make the game yet if he doesn't know what location it's going to take place and what the gameplay is going to look like, if the game designer is not done yet designing the level, if the story has not been made up yet. So all that stuff needs to be done in advance. And this is what I'm saying, is that they've kind of moved over to an approach now where one team really, you know, the full team really focuses on one game, at the same time have already a couple of people, like, you know, 50 or so, that do some pre-production work in advance, and that's good to see. And then, you know, finally, the one thing he said is that once the Lost Legacy is done, everybody will be moving over to The Last of Us Part 2, which also isn't, you know, that big of a surprise. That game is still actually looking quite early, because he actually talked also that he literally just read the script from Neil Druckmann for the full pitch of The Last of Us Part 2, which means it's still quite a while away. So who knows, maybe my fall 2018 theory won't turn out to be the case and it's going to be 2019 like many people also predicted in the comments. We'll have to kind of wait and see, but I'm sure that, yeah, you know, the moment The Last of Us Part 2 really starts nearing its end, which is, you know, in the final year, somewhere in 2018 or something, that's when people will already start moving over. And I have no doubt, honestly, myself, that I think Naughty Dog is going to start making a new IP after The Last of Us 2 comes out. So that hopefully in 5 to 10 years from now, if, you know, if they feel like, oh, The Last of Us, you know, we've done a couple of games now, this is clearly successful, but we're kind of done with it, and they have a new IP already that's also hopefully very successful, you know, that they'll still be like, well, we would, now that we're done with The Last of Us, you know, we would like to maybe at least return to Uncharted in a way, reboot the franchise with Cassie. Who knows, it's all very possible, but as you can see by what Evan Wells pretty much said in this video, the possibilities are limitless. Like, it's gonna be very interesting to see what Naughty Dog is gonna do in the future. One thing I'm sure about is that, well, we'll see The Lost Legacy this year, Last of Us Part 2 in 2018 or 2019. After that, no doubt, honestly, that they're gonna do that new IP, but what the future after that will be, we'll simply have to wait and see. Let me know in the comments what you know, how you feel about that, I guess. And then for now, thanks for watching the video. Leave a quick like if you enjoyed it, help support my channel, and then I hope to see you again next time.